Xavi Ball was at it again, a 4-0 victory over Osasuna, the same team that Barcelona barely snuck by via a 3-2 late goal from Nico Gonzalez earlier in the year. This time around, Osasuna was blown off the pitch by the 30th minute. This was no contest at all. The home crowd was treated to a tremendous performance by the Blaugrana, so let's talk about it. The 5 headlines from Barcelona's 4-0 victory over Osasuna. One is Ferran, finally. I say this a bit tongue-in-cheek because for those who've been following along with the podcast, with these headlines, you know that I always believe that Ferran Torres would eventually be putting the ball in the back of the net. And even that, I say a little bit in jest. Because Ferran Torres at 22, just learning this new system, figuring out how to play a position that Barcelona in a false 9 has not really had in quite some time. So basically learning a new position that's existing just under Xavi with a new manager that he arrived to play for. Ferran Torres, I didn't get crazy about him when he wasn't scoring, and I'm also not going to go crazy about it when he is scoring. That number right now at 5 goals in 12 matches, well, if Antoine Griezmann or Felipe Coutinho had done that when they first arrived, there's a good chance they'd still be at Barcelona. So, no, it's not Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang with 6 goals in 9 matches yet, but Ferran Torres is off to a pretty good start at FC Barcelona. As much as everybody keeps saying that Ferran Torres, all he's been doing is missing, eventually these goals will come, whether it's from PKs, which he got, I'm glad that they gave it to him, or it's from open play, which he had the confidence to get right after he scored the penalty. So has Ferran Torres arrived? Yeah, kind of. He's going to put up goals. I told you it's going to be double digits probably by the end of this season, and that's just fine for 5 months in your first campaign with FC Barcelona. I want to thank OneFootball for sponsoring this video. OneFootball is the app I use to keep myself up to date on all things FC Barcelona, everything I need to know, as well as check on every other team that Alemany could be scouting right now for a big summer transfer window. With a custom-tailored homepage, stay up to date with breaking news, live scores, and even transfer news. While on the go, you can check with matches in live time and watch videos afterwards. Use the link in the description for a free download of OneFootball on Android or iOS to put all of your football in one place. And you'll help out a tiny Barca channel too. Thanks to OneFootball again for sponsoring this video. Now back to the Barca business. 2 is something found. This comes right after that something missing against Galatasaray, that Barcelona was putting the ball in the back of the net. But it's more than just that, because a penalty isn't too exciting. But the build up to that first goal was, to me, the big difference between Galatasaray and Osasuna. It was Alba into Aubameyang, who dropped it back to Busquets, who found that run from Gabi in behind the back line, and he was able to be pulled down for the PK. Against Galatasaray, we rarely saw the 9, whether it was Memphis or Ferran Torres, find De Jong, and then Nico never made that run that Gabi did today. And in the second half, speaking of something found, even Riqui Puig, not only did he find himself on the pitch, but he also found the back of the net, meaning 22 different players have scored for FC Barcelona this year, blowing almost every other team in the Liga out of the water in that category. For Puig, it's a great moment because for once, I think finally after all these years, we're all kind of at peace where Riqui Puig is at. And I think he is too. His time at Barca is all but over, but he got one into the back of the net today. Took the shot, got the rebound, and made it 4-0. And good for him. Getting the applause from the fans, getting the smiles from his teammates. It feels like he's a player near the end of his career, the way he's beloved by everybody. But we all know it's only a matter of time in a Barcelona uniform. And that says a lot more about the greatness of his teammates like Pedri and Gabi, that everybody is so on the same page, including the player. I'm glad for Puig, whether he's transferred out over the summer or he goes out on loan. I can't imagine he'll be at the club next season. But for Riqui Puig and his future prospects, this is just a great moment that you have with a young player who came up with the system and who so many Kool-Aids want to see succeed. This feels a bit like he succeeded to be a part of FC Barcelona and part of this project, even if he isn't moving forward. 3 is together again, Aubameyang and Dembele in the way-back machine from the time at Borussia Dortmund, up to their antics again, putting goals past teams that didn't bring their best defensively today. That third goal was the worst that Osasuna defended today, in my view. I think they gave Dembele way too much time to cross the ball in. And for Aubameyang, that was just a straight, U14 run to the near post that the defender allowed Aubameyang to get across his body and still be in position for a shot in front of goal. So Osasuna, they'd already checked out by that point. But I will say that near post run, it feels good to watch a Barcelona forward make that near post run with the assumption that he's going to get on the end of a ball and put it in the back of the net. For Aubameyang, he has now scored 5 goals in 6 La Liga games, the second fastest Barca player, this is all courtesy Opta by the way, to reach 5 goals in the competition in the 21st century. The other two being Samuel Eto'o in 2004 and Zlatan Ibrahimovic in 2009, both of which who had 5 goals in 5 appearances, so just one appearance better than Aubameyang. And for Dembele, he's provided 5 assists in his last 4 La Liga games, equaling the most by any player in the 2022 year, in the calendar year, and, this is the important one, as many as his previous 45 appearances. Dembele now has 7 assists on the season in La Liga, and he's never hit that mark before. So yeah, once again a reminder that Dembele is having his best season in an FC Barcelona uniform just months before he's probably going to leave on a free transfer. 4. Back to the positives here. Leaders lead. It was 600 appearances today for Gerard Piqué, who was able to get an early rest. We saw a rare appearance by Lenglet. Piqué also had an offside goal taken off the board, as well as making one mistake that fortunately Ter Stegen was up to. Really the only opportunity Osasuna had in that entire match. But all in all, just a good day at the office for Piqué. And the rest of his veterans around him. Busquets, Alves, Alba. It's hard to actually separate great performances from the good and okay performances. Everybody showed up today, especially those vets. And Osasuna's side, they were in bad form, were quite poor, though they have been better this year, and some of that should be Barca keeping some of the credit, to be honest. This was the response you wanted to see after the Galatasaray match. This is where I wanted to see those leaders lead this team to a victory today. Pedri, Gabi, who had to watch from home, and Garcia. They may not be the leaders of today, but to see that intensity throughout the team, young or not, this was exactly the response I think Xavi and Culés were looking for today. And for those fears of rotation we had against Galatasaray, Mingueza, Lenglet, Braithwaite, those players getting, not say valuable minutes for them, but allowing other players to rotate and get a rest. And that wound up being a really important thing because Xavi didn't have to start this match with Braithwaite or Lenglet, players that are clearly out of form, just so that he could rest starters from the beginning. Instead, he was able to actually have players come off the field who needed a rest and rotate properly because he could use the full depth of his squad because the match was already over. The only exception being Sergio Busquets, but as we've been talking about in recent weeks, that midfield, it was Frankie de Jong's turn today, that midfield is finally being rotated this season. 5 is Spanish champions again. There's more to talk about with this Osasuna match. There's plenty of performances we didn't really get into, but we have to celebrate the Barca Femení winning another trophy. We'll hit more Osasuna stuff tomorrow on the podcast, but for the time being, that last headline needs to be the Femení are Spanish champions again. 24 wins from 24 matches and a plus 130. A plus 130. Okay, one more time. A plus 130 goal differential certainly got the job done. But this being only their 7th league title should be a reminder that this dominance is recent in their history. But I guess the emphasis should be on that world dominance. It may not actually do the Femení justice. It's interesting to see the response to them in comparison to the PSG men, teams that can only gain credit from global audiences if they take home the Champions League trophy. And even then, the likes of Alexia Putellas will start to only be judged by what she does on the international stage for Spain, regardless of her individual trophies. But you know what? I'd rather have to argue for her credit and get bored of winning than have to fight for credibility at all. Remember, the upcoming international break isn't without important matches. The Femení get Real Madrid again, the team they crushed 5-0 today for the title. And they get him in the Champions League, where things matter just a little bit more when you've already won the domestic league title with 6 matches to spare in the league. All right, so that's a pretty good Sunday. We started it with positivity, we end it with positivity. And Barcelona, for all those fears of top 4, they now sit just 5 points behind Sevilla with a game in hand for 2nd place. We're not talking 3rd place or 4th place. Barcelona can get a little more comfortable in the league campaign, continuing to take care of business like this. Remember, these 3 points matter just as much as 3 points against Atletico Madrid, against Real Madrid. It doesn't matter who it is. Taking care of business at home with 3 points is all you need to secure Champions League football and have a big summer, regardless if it's Erling Haaland or not. We'll talk about that stuff at a later date because for now, I'm just enjoying the 3 points and the victory. And as always, until next time, Forza Barca.